What's up, guys? So, as promised, I am here to tell you my story. Before we get started, I just want to mention for you to bear with me because I usually don't sit here and just talk to you guys. I'm usually like recording while I'm going about my day, doing things, and my day to day. So, this is different. So, I apologize in advance for any slow talking, or I'm trying to gather my thoughts, or my or and things like that. So I apologize in advance, but it will get better. So before telling my story, I have a couple things here with me. I also have some notes because I didn't want to forget to mention anything. So all of the important things I wrote down, and it's actually couple pages, but I'm gonna try to condense things as much as possible. I'm gonna try to condense my story. I don't want this to be a long video, so I'm gonna try to shorten it as much as I can, but I do want to make sure that I tell you guys everything, and there's a lot of big things, so just bear with me, but I promise it's not gonna be a long video. And before telling my story, if I look away, it's because I'm looking at my notes to remind me like the topics that I wanted to touch on. I want to point out that I don't force any beliefs or religions on anyone. I just want to share my story because my heart says it may help others. And I think that everyone should respect each other's beliefs and be more open and understanding. Instead of closed-minded and only thinking your way is the only way, or whatever you believe is right and everyone else is wrong. So you treat others indifferent because you're like, oh, well, you think a different way, so something's wrong with you. We got to stay open-minded and we can't think like that. So to start, just to go back in time a little bit, like a quick second. When I was a baby, my mom was Catholic, and so I was baptized as a baby. And then when I was a toddler, she turned Christian. She started going to a Christian church. And all my life, my mom forced me to go to church on Sundays, and she pretty much forced me every Sunday until she couldn't force me anymore, until I grew up and I was making my own decisions and she couldn't force me to go. So I strayed away from church eventually, shortly after I turned 18, when I was going through my rebellious, crazy stages. I think we all go through those stages where we're trying to get to know ourselves or find ourselves. And turning 21, those are just some crazy times usually. And, I was getting to know myself and eventually, matured, settled down, got married, had kids. So I wanted my first child to be presented in church after I had my daughter, by my pastor, by my childhood pastor, because, I just thought, I wanted to start her life off the right way. And I was baptized when I was a child, when I was a baby, and Christians, they don't baptize babies because they say babies don't know right from wrong. So what they do is they present the child, like presenting the child to God. And so I wanted to do that for my daughter. And so if I was going to do that, I wanted her to be presented by my childhood pastor, the pastor that I've known all of my life, the one and only pastor that I've known all of my life. And when I had decided that I wanted that to happen, he had a heart attack, I believe, when he was cutting the grass in his Florida home, and he passed away. He didn't come back. He didn't bounce back from that. So I actually forgot about it, and I postponed it. I just set that aside, and I didn't think about it again till 2 years later. I eventually, yeah, she was about like 2 years and something months finally when I presented her. So that's when I felt like I was ready to continue my plans. And obviously, I had to do it with another pastor. So, um, my sister knew, of a pastor. And so we presented her with him. Anyway, so that happened. And then I had my son after that. They're 2 years apart. So after my son turning 2, after being a busy mom for so long, everything died down. Everything kind of calmed down after he turned 2. They start being more independent. And, my daughter was 4. So, they don't need you as much, every second. And it just gets a bit easier when it comes to handling them. So I was able to get back on focusing on myself some more, especially since I had extra time. Because not last year, not last year, but the year before, 2018 in November, several uncomfortable events that I had at my job led me to quit my job. And 1 week later, after that, it was like the week of Thanksgiving. I had to take my mom to the hospital twice that week because of pain, which we later found out it was because she had herniated discs, and she was my babysitter. So I didn't continue to look for another job after that because I wasn't going to have a babysitter anymore. I wasn't going to pay for daycare because daycare is really expensive, especially for 2 kids, and it was more affordable and less expensive me just staying home taking care of my own kids than going out and working and paying for daycare. Like literally I was gonna pay like my whole checks or we're gonna go to daycare plus more. So there was no point. It was ridiculous. And so yeah, I had to take my mom to the hospital. Yeah, so we ended up knowing that she had herniated discs. So I stayed home and I was like, well, I can't work anymore. I got to take care of the kids. And so her physical abilities just deteriorated from there. And I wasn't able to return to work. I had to take care of my kids. So we weren't really being able to make it on one income. We weren't making the cut. It wasn't enough money. We had bought a home, so we had a mortgage and all the bills that come with that, and we had new cars and car notes and all the bills that come with that, and car insurance, and you name the bill, we had it. So I couldn't pay my mortgage. I went months without paying my mortgage. Tried to catch up. It seemed like it was impossible. So the house went into foreclosure. Our house was in foreclosure. We were applying for assistance with a mortgage for, hardship, claiming that, we had a hardship, and we were applying for loss mitigation. And first we did a forbearance plan, and that didn't work out. And, the mortgage was trying to figure out what would work, and then it wouldn't work. And so we started applying for loss mitigation, where they pretty much, they would add the balance that we had to the whole loan as a total. So pretty much if we owed $250,000 and I had a balance of $10,000, they would add that to the loan. So now we owed $260, pretty much, for example. It doesn't really work that way, but yeah, just to simplify that. So we were going through that, and during the process of applying for loss mitigation, they were asking us for, pay stubs, or asking us for paperwork. They were asking us to write letters, me that I quit my job. And, I was driving for Uber and Lyft, trying to, help out my husband with money and the bills, and trying to keep up with everything else, because we weren't paying for the mortgage, because that was our biggest bill. So we were paying everything else. It's like we had to choose what bill we were going to pay that month, and the mortgage was never one of them. to say the least. So it was a really tough time. And this was from November 2018. It went through all the way through November of 2019. About October, November 2019. So while we were applying, they kept asking for stuff. Months would pass, like the application, once they had everything that they asked for, the application all of a sudden was expired. So now we had to do the application all over again. And then the bank statements were expired. So we had to resend them in. And it was just ridiculous. And it took months and months and months and months would pass by. And we're still in the same limbo. And they're still asking us for documents and paperwork. And it continued and continued and continued. It just felt like it was never going to end. It was never going to be over. So during this time, obviously I had some extra time because I'm home, with the kids. So I wanted to do some self-development. I wanted to dedicate some more time to myself and working on myself and, exercising and everything. I just didn't really know where to start. So I was actually exposed to some videos about law of attraction, affirmations, the creator, the universe, energy, manifestation, how to attract things, how energy works, or how what you put out comes back to you, how we're spiritual beings living this human experience, human life experience. So I continue to watch videos, speeches, motivational speeches, inspirational speeches, and I continue to work on myself and grow and like change my mindset, learning that negativity is really a sickness. And whenever you think that, you think like, oh, I'm a good person, I'm a pretty good person, I'm a pretty humble person, I'm a pretty forgiving person, I'm a pretty okay human being as a whole, I feel like that's a closed, mindset when we think like that. And sometimes we're at a stage in our life, and I was, where we think like that, and you think that you're, okay enough in all areas, but there's always room to be better, and there's always room to grow. And if we don't, what's the word I'm looking for? If we don't long to be better, then there's really, what's our purpose? So, I was learning that negativity is like such a sickness, and I definitely had that in my mind. Like I was just being so negative because so many things were happening to me, and we were having so many, unfortunate events. And, I was learning that your mindset is so important to make your dreams come true and to prosper and to grow and to live the life that you do want and find happiness and find peace. And I was learning about all about I have trouble saying this word, visualizations. You guys are gonna laugh at me. I was learning about visualizations and writing things down, the power of writing things down, the power of vision boards and gratitude and giving things on a daily basis. So I kept digging deeper and deeper once I was exposed to all of that. And I started applying all of these things to my life. I started exercising all of these things in my life and forming new habits. I started changing my mindset. I started forming new habits. And I began to change and shift that negativity into positivity and to have gratitude. And without knowing it, I was doing some, self-development and watching those inspirational, motivational speeches and messages and learning different ways to make my life better and better. And I just began to think of the glass half full instead of half empty. I used to think, my mindset used to be set on lack. And now my mind was switching to, there's more than enough. There is more than enough for everyone. There's more than enough for you. So then I was exposed, once I changed my mindset, I started thinking differently. I started acting differently. I started being more at peace with myself, and all of that was projecting as I was growing, as I was self-developing, developing, as my mindset was changing. All of that was projecting off of me. And it was noticeable how I was better in many areas. I was a better wife. I was a better mother. I was a better daughter. I was a better person. I was a better human being. And so, after it took months, it took a couple months for, all of that to happen, for all of those changes to begin. And then, the more I exercised and the more I continued to want to grow and self-develop more, then it got better and better, obviously. But then I was exposed to Steve Harvey's videos all of a sudden, because he's a motivational speaker. So I'm guessing that's how he came into the whole shebang. And I started watching his motivational messages and videos. And he's a very spiritual person. And I was introduced back to God by him. So when I was watching his videos, his messages were very relatable to me and my life. And I felt like, there's a reason why. There's a reason for everything. There's a reason behind everything. And I felt like I was watching these videos because there was a message that was trying to be, set straight, or there's trying to be a message to set across, like from the universe. And so I realized that, after watching videos and everything and just thinking about things, because I'm already on this different mindset, I'm like not going to church every Sunday. It's not about the Bible and not godly or anything. I'm doing all this law of attraction and affirmations and energy and, the universe, and just, like a different, well, I thought that was divided. Like I thought I was on the other side of the street. But I started realizing that the reason why I strayed away from church, from going to church, from, having conversations with my mom about God and everything, was because I never grieved. And I thought about it, like I never grieved my pastor. Yeah, I waited 2 years to present my daughter, but I never grieved my pastor because I was so many miles away when he passed, and I couldn't go to his funeral, and I couldn't go to his burial, and I never got to go to where he was laid to rest to say goodbye, to have closure. And knowing someone for so many years of my life, he literally watched me grow into a woman. I didn't know I needed that closure. I didn't know that it would affect me the way that it did. So I never got to say goodbye. I never got the closure. I continued to be open-minded and watching more videos that kept being more and more relatable. And I just felt like more and more he was talking to me when it came to Steve Harvey's videos. So let me see what else I wanted to touch base on, you guys. So then, so that's when I started to see visions of me on the beach watching the sunrise. I started having, I saw it in a dream, and usually you don't have the same dream more than once. I was having several dreams of me on the beach watching the sunrise. I started daydreaming about it. Sometimes your mind just wanders and you start daydreaming. I would daydream of the same thing. I saw myself on the beach, sitting on the sand, watching the sunrise. And so it was in my dreams, it was in my daydreams, and that's my happy place. Like, that's my favorite place to be, the beach. It it is just, it's my favorite place. It just gives me so much peace. That, and it's so beautiful, and I just love it. It's just, that's my favorite place to be, the beach. So, but I had never watched the sunrise, so it was so weird to me that I kept seeing these visions and these daydreams and these dreams at night of me watching the sunrise on the beach, because I had never gotten up early to go to the beach and watch the sunrise. Like, who does that? So I came to understand that my creator was calling me there. There was a reason why now I was watching all these like godly videos and getting these messages, and I thought, God is calling me there. And so I was really scared and skeptical about it, about going to the beach at that time. I had never gone to the beach while it's still dark. Like, who goes to the beach and is there like 6 a.m.? And even though I was scared, because I kept having these daydreams and these dreams and visions, I wanted to go. And I told my husband about it, and I thought he was going to think I was crazy. And I told him what's going on, and I was like, I think God's calling me. He wants to meet me there. And so I was scared to say anything, but I did, and he kind of thought I was a little weird, but he understood, like, you want to go, go. So I planned to go one morning, and I chickened out. I was scared, like, fear got the best of me, because I was like, oh my God, like, what if there's somebody there? What if there's like a bad guy there? Like, people that get drunk the night before, what if they go there? Like, who's gonna be there? Is it gonna be empty? Am I gonna be all alone? Like, is it gonna be dangerous? Like, I have so many things just running through my head, and it just made me not go. Like, it made me chicken out and not go.